So I believe we're live. I'm going to double check on my Facebook page to make sure.
Cool.
I want to make sure it's all connected. We'll dive in. Perfect. I see myself. I heard myself. We are good to go. Yay. Awesome. So, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Journey to Six Figures live stream podcast for trailblazing entrepreneurs. You know, my mission behind this live stream is really to help you guys gain expert knowledge and become inspired by successful business owners so you can finally hit and exceed that six-figure mark in your business. So I'm your host, Lexi Schaefer. For those of you guys who don't know me, I'm a business strategist and success coach, helping you guys increase your income and your impact, all while working less. And I'm super, super excited today to introduce to you guys Andy from Andy Love. So thank you so much for being here.
Of course, I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. And so a little background, Andy and I both I've only taken level 1 Spirit Junkie masterclass with Gabby Bernstein, but that's, I think, how I officially first came across you and your work.
Yeah, I think it was about 2 years ago when I was just starting out. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been amazing to see your transformation. I've always been so inspired by you. And I just want to share your bio with everyone. And then I see we have some people hopping on live. So if you guys are hopping on live, type in the comments the city, state, country, wherever it is you are tuning in from. Say hi in the comments below. And also know you guys can ask any questions and we'll have a little Q&A portion at the end. And also share this video if you think someone in your world would benefit from hearing this. So let's dive in. Andy is a highly trained spiritual business coach and holistic healer. She works with people to transcend their limiting beliefs and to step into their authentic truth and power. She does this work because it is through the principles that she teaches that her own healing and transformation took place. She believes in the power of the mind-body connection and creating an internal and external environment where happiness, joy, and success are inevitable. As a coach and healer, she uses a variety of modalities to bust through blocks, including chakra cleansing, energy work, meditation, crystal healing, and mindfulness. She has a master's degree in transpersonal counseling psychology from Naropa University, and she's a graduate of Gabrielle Bernstein's Spirit Junkie Masterclass, both levels 1 and 2. So I love your bio, I love your story, and thank you again so much for being here.
Yeah, of course. It's so funny hearing someone read that back. It's like, oh, wow, I've done those things. That's amazing.
Yeah, it really is amazing. And I love that you went to Naropa. I don't know if I knew that, but I looked at that college when I was in school. I didn't go there, but I visited.
Yeah, that was a big piece of my journey. I think that was kind of the start of my personal development and learning that there's different ways to cultivate healing and success in our lives. So that's been a big piece of the puzzle here for me, which is really cool.
Yeah. Oop, it cut out a little.
Oh,
are you there still?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, perfect. Crazy technology. Awesome. Yeah. So why don't we just get started? I want to hear in your own words, how did you get started in entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So I started my journey about 4.5 years ago. I was doing some direct sales with a network marketing company. And that was kind of my first go at being my own boss, working for myself. And what I found through the process was that I loved helping people. I had this huge passion for helping people start to understand what was that bigger dream for their life? What was that bigger vision for their life? And so I had success in that industry, but through the process of being in that industry, I knew that there was a greater purpose for me. And so I kind of started diving deeper into the world of personal development and just seeing what other people were doing. And that's how I fell past Gabby Bernstein's work. And then I knew it's so crazy. It was the beginning of 2015. And it was I just knew that I was destined for something greater than what I was doing. And I became a huge student. I was buying books and going to lectures and watching YouTube videos and joining Facebook groups and saying who has what I want and what are they doing and how did they get there. And I just really committed myself to the practice. And it was about a 9-month journey of really diving deep into myself. And it was actually 2 years ago today, which is really crazy that we're having this interview on this day because it was not planned like this. But it was actually 2 years ago today that I became a graduate of the level 1 certification with Gabby, and had this inspired idea of launching my own coaching business to really bring Andy Love to life and help other women transform their path of who they want to be and what they want to do. And so it's just like one of those things where I woke up this morning and my Facebook memories were like me posting that I had just finished level 1. And I thought, how crazy that like we're doing an interview today to kind of talk about my journey on really the day of when it actually came to life. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Goosebumps. That's so exciting. 2 years ago. It like, does it seem like that was a long time ago, or what do you think?
You know, it feels like it was yesterday. Like I totally can remember sitting at my desk making that post. I can remember, really being like, oh my gosh, I want to become a coach and I want to take all this knowledge and education and like bring it to life. And I had just started making my website that day. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like YouTubing, like how to create websites on your own, like how, just really like really didn't know what I was doing. But I think what was there for me was that fire and that passion and like the commitment of like, okay, this is my purpose in the world. And I need to do whatever it takes to get there, and throwing the excuses out the window. So it feels like yesterday, but then it also feels like it's been a lifetime because I think every moment in my life has led me up to where I'm at right now. So yeah, it's crazy. It's like I can remember what I was wearing. I can remember where I was sitting. I can remember all of those things, and yet it feels like it was so long ago.
Yeah, I love that. So going into Spirit Junkie Masterclass level 1, did you know you wanted to like become a coach, or did it just kind of happen? I feel like you're someone, it's so natural to you. Like even your live streams that you do, you just have such a great way of really helping people. Like you talk about transcending their limiting beliefs, all these incredible things. So I'd love to hear from you. Like, do you think it was something that you planned, or like it just kind of happened?
I think it was something that's always been in me, but I was kind of living in my zone of excellence. So I was living and doing the things that I was good at, right? But I wasn't allowing myself to really tap into like my genius and my gifting. And so I have a heart for helping people. My background was as a therapist, right? So like there's always been a part of me on this journey of like helping people tap into their highest potential. But what I think was going on is that on my path in entrepreneurship, I became very successful, monetarily successful, right? And I think sometimes what we think is that when we hit those certain income goals, that's going to then create our contentment and our happiness. And my situation and story was a little different. I hit some very big income goals in my direct sales business, but the contentment and the happiness wasn't there. And so I was kind of in a dark place of saying, I don't get it, right? I can have, travel when I want, and I have this freedom, this financial abundance, and yet my soul wasn't in that same place. And so I knew there was something more. And that's when I started asking the question, like, who am I really? What am I here to do? Who am I here to serve? What is the greater message for me in all of this? And that's when I ended up kind of realizing like, oh, wait, like I think this is all happening so that I can teach people how to cultivate a foundation in their lives first, so that then when the abundance comes, the contentment is there, right? And I was doing it backwards for a really long time. So there was a piece of me that always knew that I was kind of destined for something greater than what I was doing. And the passion to help people and to serve has always been a driving force for me. But when I finally allowed myself to tune into what my real gifting was, that's when everything shifted.
Yes, I love that. And I know you talk a lot about like this mind-body connection, and I want to hear more about that, like in your own words. Like, why is that important for anybody, specifically, entrepreneurs or someone on this path of holistic healing?
Yeah. Okay. So this is like totally my jam. So any point, interrupt me, because I'll just like get on my soapbox and go. So this is like really for the last, I would say, probably the last 15 years of my life, I've really been tuned into the mind-body connection. But I really put the practices to work over this last, I would say, year and a half. And what I have found, and you probably see this as well, we're in this world, right? A lot of people that are probably tuning in are in some point interested in having some sort of coaching business or launching some sort of entrepreneurial venture where, they can monetize their passions, right? I think that's kind of what we all want is, who am I really? Why am I here? And how can I serve in a way that, allows me to create freedom in my life and abundance and happiness and contribution and all of these things. And so what I see happening is a lot of us trying to piecemeal our way there, right? So we do a little bit of this and we do a little bit of that and we put some structures into place and we think we can just replicate what other people are doing to get to where they're at. And I hear you've talked about this in some of your trainings as well. So I totally know that we're totally vibing on the same page here with this. And so what I have found is that people get all these structures in place, but then their business doesn't reach the level that they are desiring it to be at. And I had a similar experience. So I started saying to myself, what's going on here? And what I realized was that I wasn't building on solid ground. And there's a lot of people out there that are not building on solid ground. And what I mean by that is we can't just affirm and vision board our way into the success that we want. We have to create it internally first, because as we cultivate that environment internally, we then allow our external circumstances to change. And so I realized that success didn't just come from the mindset. The mindset is a piece of it. Our email list is a piece of it. Our structure is a piece of it. But take someone like you, for example. You had radical success and you had 400 people on your list, right? Same thing for me. There was a time in my business where I hit a 5-figure month with 120 people on my list. Okay. So these structures are important, but if we're not working internally first, the structures mean nothing. So for me, my big mission with people is, how do we start to clear out those energetic blocks internally that are creating resistance in our lives, that are actually not allowing us to fully receive our greatest gifting or our highest self energy? So meditation became a huge piece for me of getting into the vibration of what it feels like, not just what it looks like or what I like to imagine, but actually what it feels like in my body when I reach those big business goals, what it feels like in my body when I'm on that stage speaking, what it feels like in my body when I sell out a program or sign up that client or write that book, right? So it's about getting into the vibration of the feeling in the body first, living in that place, and then saying, okay, now what do I need to do for the structure? Now what kind of email do I need to send out to my list? Or what kind of Facebook Live do I need to launch today? Or what kind of podcast do I need to put together for my audience? And when we're in that place of alignment internally, the things that we do externally, it looks totally different, and it brings in what we deeply desire because it's coming from a totally different energy than clinging to the result. It's we're in a flow of, this is who I really am and this is who I'm here to serve. And now I'm being guided exactly in the way that I need to be guided to create the success. So everything I do in my coaching, whether it's one-on-one or groups or even stuff like this, it's just getting people to just, if you take anything away from me today, it's do the internal work. The structures and all of that business stuff is super, super important, and find those people that can teach you that. But do the internal work first, because if the mindset is not in alignment with the energetic vibration of your body, you will not create the success you want. It neutralizes itself out, and you'll be left being why the hell doesn't this work for me? Why can't I get it to work, but somebody else can? And the people out there that are really doing it are the people who are committed to the process, and they're showing up doing all of the work, not just the structure pieces of their business. Mm-hmm. So I'm huge, huge, huge on that.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I love hearing your perspective of it in your own words, because, a lot of people, we do talk about mindset and how important it is to have that foundational piece. But the way you talk about it, it's so good, because it's it's deeper than that. It's deeper than, what do I want? What do I want to affirm? It's what does your body and what does your mind deeply desire? And how can you, align with those goals? And then, the action, everything that you have to do, the systems, that's just going to naturally, I think, almost fall into place. So it's such a nice perspective. I love hearing it from you.
Yeah. Well, and it's those things I feel amplify us, right? So Well, a big piece I talk about all the time is how our bodies, they don't know the difference between past, present, and future. So when we're saying, I'm going to be successful, or I'm a successful coach, or I sign up that client, or whatever it is that we're affirming, when we're saying those things, if subconsciously somewhere in our nervous system, we've had an experience where maybe we haven't hit a goal, right? Or we've said we're going to do something and maybe we don't follow through or whatever, right? And our nervous system is then being like, well, no, actually, you're not going to be that thing, or the nervous system doesn't believe it. We're affirming it, but on a subconscious level, the body, which totally trumps it, is saying, well, no, that's not going to happen. So we have to figure out a way to bring those two pieces together. And for me, the best piece of this has been getting into the vibration. Like, what does it feel like? What does it feel like when I hit that 5-figure month, that 6-figure month, that 6-figure year, whatever that is for you? What does it feel like when, I land that speaking gig that I deeply want, or I sign up that first client, or I launch that website, and then we start living in that feeling that then amplifies the mindset piece, right? And then when we put our structures in place, it's even more amplified, because now we're creating from this totally different place. So I tell people, like, we need to do mindset and body set. I don't know if body set's the right word yet, but it's what I've been using till I find a better term, because we do get really caught up in just all the mindset work, which is just a piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of different pieces. And it is so interesting when we see, entrepreneurs or coaches, almost it seems like an overnight success, where they all of a sudden they just blossom and they have like exponential growth. And from the outside looking in, it looks like it was really fast. But I think that what I've noticed with like a lot of these successful people that I've been following and wanting to surround myself with, it's that they're doing all of this work. They're doing the structure, they're doing the mindset, they're doing the internal. And I think once you really embody all of those different aspects, like, you're just bound for success, because you feel it, and it does, just happen.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's interesting, because I had a thought as you were saying that, and I like watched it like run past my head, and I was like, wait, don't lose that. But it is interesting, because you bring up a great point. Like, I think especially in this coaching world, it's really, we can get really caught up in like comparing ourselves, right? So like, we have these people that are inspiring to us, and we're like, wow, like, I love what they're doing. And then sometimes we can be like, oh man, like, I'll never be that good, or I'll never be that great, or like, why isn't it happening for me? Because, like, let's be real, social media is sometimes like the highlight reel of our life, right? Like, we're not always being like, oh my gosh, like, I launched something and it sucked, or I, put together a course and like 3 people signed up and my goal was 50, or whatever it is. We're not necessarily promoting those moments, but I think what's really important is that when we recognize ourselves kind of getting into that compare mode, to know that when we do that, it actually lowers our standards. And so when I catch myself, because I catch myself sometimes comparing myself to what other people are doing, or wow, like, how did they get there? It seems like so fast. I remember, like, this is a journey, right? And, I launched my business 2 years ago, but I was 3 years before that still doing entrepreneurship, falling down a lot, like falling down, get back up, fall down, get back up, fall down, get back up. So it's not so much about how quickly can I make it happen, but it's like, how quickly do I get back up when, maybe that idea that I had, or that thing that I launched, or, whatever it is, maybe it doesn't go in the way that I thought or wanted or desired, but how quickly do I get back up and keep moving forward? Because that is the difference. Like, that's the difference in the people that are making it happen, and the people that are sitting back still trying to figure out, what their Facebook post should say from last week, right? So there's something about just taking action in the moment and not getting caught up in the perfection of, does it have to, like, do I have to make it a certain way, right? No, to me, it's like, what feels good, and is it in alignment with how you want to feel in your business? And if it does, then go for it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree 100%. We have a couple people who are leaving some comments. So hi, Michelle. She said, late to the party. Happy to be catching this live. And Riley had a question. Yes. So Riley said she's so needing to hear all this right now. And her question, what does it look like for you when you begin to shift your subconscious doubt and disbelief?
Oh, this is so good. So it depends on the day because it doesn't always look the same. Sometimes it can happen really quickly, and sometimes I need a good kick in the booty. So a couple things for me is I have a couple really important spiritual running buddies in my life that sometimes when I can't shift myself on my own, I reach out to them and say, hey, remind me that like I'm just letting my ego take over or something. So I think the first thing is just finding those few people that you can have that believe in you and that support you and that lift you up, that in those moments when the doubt comes in, because it will come in a lot, that if you don't have the tools to immediately get yourself out of it, or if you find yourself like struggling to shift quicker, that you have those people that you can reach out to kind of just help boost that for you. So that's kind of the first thing for me. And then the second piece of this is I have a really strict routine with myself. And so I don't go there very often. But when I start to notice myself in a fear-based thought or a lack thought or a limiting belief thought, the first question I ask myself is this really real right now? Like, is what I'm thinking really real? So I use a lot of the work of Byron Katie. If you guys don't know who she is, she's got some really great work out there around really shifting the way in which we think. Because at the end of the day, if our body's feeling fear, we can tell ourselves we're safe, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the body's going to be like, I believe you, right? So it's like this dance in between affirming and asking yourself these questions, like, is this really real for me right now? How do I know what I'm feeling is really true? Is this an old-based thought process or pattern? And then I immediately go into my body and I do a quick scan and I say, okay, where am I feeling this right now? Am I feeling it in my stomach? Am I feeling it in my throat? And then I just take breath. Breath for me is like my go-to. So if I'm noticing like, oh my gosh, like I totally feel this in the pit of my stomach, I'm freaking out. I'm telling myself that I'm okay, but my stomach is like, no, you're not, like you're dying, or whatever the crazy thoughts are that I'm having. I take some breath and I just breathe into that space. And I really just, I surrender it. So I use the phrase, thank you so much, universe, God, higher power, whatever it is for you. Thank you so much for allowing me to see this differently. Thank you so much for allowing this thing to be released. And then I just do 7 inhales, 7 exhales. And that for me is one of the most grounding tools. Doesn't mean it shifts right away. Sometimes it takes a little longer. Sometimes I need to send that text out to my spiritual running buddies and say SOS, like I'm freaking out. But for me, my morning routine, I'm really like non-negotiable with that. My meditation, my quiet time, my gratitude, that gets me in that grounded space. And then when the fear or the doubt or the limitations arise during the day, I really just check myself. I breathe into it. And then if need be, I reach out to, my support system. And that's it. And honestly, I don't allow a lot of that in. So I think the more, and I think Lexi, you can probably, relate and testify to this. I think the more regimented we are with our morning routines and what are these things that we're doing to set ourselves up every single day, and we commit to that, the less we have these fear-based thoughts come in and take us out. That's what I have found. So I'm like super persistent with what I need to do on a day-to-day to keep me in my flow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's really important, and it's been helpful for me too. As an entrepreneur, someone who works from home and works for myself and from a computer, and all I need is Wi-Fi. Like, structure it's almost created more space, more space to enjoy the process and not get so caught up in, whatever's going on in your head. And so for me, that I talk about it a lot too, having a morning routine, and it can be customizable because everybody has different, amounts of times or what they like to do, what they don't like to do. And I think you just have to, make it whatever feels best for you. And you obviously gave some really great suggestions of things you can implement moving forward. So I love that.
Yeah. Awesome.
So good. So one of the last questions I definitely want to ask you, because to me, like, you are somebody who just totally embodies, powerhouse thought leader. I love your work. Like I said, just anybody who's not in, I think the Love Vibe, you just changed the name.
I changed it.
Yeah, the Love Vibe. You guys have to go join that group. Andy has the best Facebook live streams where she'll just go on really inspirational riffs. Totally recommend that. So I will get to type that in on the screen here to go join the Love Vibe. But Andy, I would love to hear, as someone who has really stepped up and like had this such a strong voice and like you embody leadership, what do you recommend for somebody who wants to also step up and be a leader?
Yeah, just do it, you guys. I mean, here's the thing. We all have unique gifting, every single one of us. And, the most empowering thing that you can do for yourself is to honor that truth of who you are. And it can feel really scary. And for me, it was a lot of fear around what were people going to think, or were people going to wonder what the heck I was doing? And, here I am like talking about crystals and chakras and spiritual coaching. And like, people are like, what are you doing? And the biggest thing for me has been just doing it, not overthinking the process, allowing my intuition to come in and guide me, and trusting that. So if you're one of those people out there where you're like, I know, like you just know that there's something greater for you, like explore it, find those people who are doing what you're doing and take the daily action, because it's so easy to get paralyzed in our limiting beliefs. It's so easy to get paralyzed in the fear and the compare and the judgment and the lack and the scarcity, because our natural human instinct wants to keep us safe, right? So our ego comes in and is like, oh, don't do that, or no, that's not for you, or people will think you're weird, or whatever the ego is telling us, right? It's really easy for us to be like, oh yeah, like they're right. And for me, I can remember the day that I hit go live for my very first Facebook Live, and being somebody who's overcome a lot of social anxiety, that's kind of part of my story. I had a lot of social anxiety, struggled with depression, a lot of different things, was on medication. I had every diagnosis you could ever imagine, because I would literally go to the doctor's office and like beg for diagnoses, because it somehow validated what I was feeling on the inside, which was a lot of anxiety. Speaking in front of people was a big fear of mine. And so my big limiting belief when I was wanting to start this journey was, God, I really want to help people, but I don't know how to speak to a group. I don't know how to get on a video and talk. And I just remember the day where I was like, okay, if I'm doing this, like I need to be seen, right? You can't have a business and then hide behind, hide in your closet, which is what I was doing. I would go in there and I would just like have panic attacks. And so I went through the Japanese art of decluttering. So I highly recommend this to you guys. And I started releasing things that were no longer serving me, like things actually in my environment. And then I started releasing things energetically. And I grabbed my phone and I said, I'm going to do a Facebook Live. And I hit go live on the floor of my bedroom with a huge pile of stuff behind me from my closet that was like thrown all over my room. And I was like, this is my moment to be seen. And I just took the action. I did that Facebook Live. I talked about what my process was. I talked about how freaking scared I was. And that video got thousands and thousands and thousands of views. It had like 50 shares. It went viral. It was really hilarious because I was umming and liking and freaking out like the entire time. But what happened in that moment was I took my fear and I looked at it straight in the face and I said, you're not going to hold me back anymore. Like the choices I make from this moment forward are no longer going to be dictated from a place of fear. And so if you want to do this work, just do it. Like make that Facebook post, make that blog post, launch the website, hit go live and just talk to people. I realized I didn't have to have the structure. The structure is important, but I didn't have to have like some crazy outline of what my Facebook Live was going to be. Me showing up in my fear and vulnerability was enough for people to say, oh my gosh, like if she can do it, so can I. And that's what this work is about. So if you inspire one person by doing that one thing that scares you, then you're a light worker, then you're a healer. That's in my opinion. So my biggest advice is just take the action. Take the action. The rest of the stuff will sort itself out. You'll learn how to make the website and the email sequences and all of that crazy stuff that we think we need to know before we take the action. Just take the action and everything else will fall into place. So yeah.
No, I love that story and I've heard it before and it never gets old. And I think like people watching are probably like, you would never know like from this live stream that you struggled with public speaking. Like you would never, because you are so eloquent when you speak and just share great stories. And so yeah, you just have to trust the process, take action and keep going. Yeah. I love that. So where can people find you? What's going on in your world? Where do you want to send people? Obviously we have the Love Vibe in the caption, which is her Facebook group. Where else?
So the Love Vibe is my little teeny sacred place where is like the most comfortable place for me to be. So you guys will get me like messy hair and bun, like you'll get me at the grocery store. Like I just that is my little kind of safe zone. And so I'm always doing stuff in there and always kind of giving you guys free tips and trainings and as much encouragement and love as I possibly can, because that's my mission. You can also find me at Andy Love, which is my public profile Facebook page. And then my website's going through a little bit of a rebrand right now, but you can also find me at andylove.com. But I would say the best place to interact with me is the Love Vibe and then my Andy Love Facebook page.
Perfect. I love that. And I know you just recently launched your mastermind, which, oh my God, it sounds incredible. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I have 2 spots left actually, which is really exciting. So this just goes to show you, you guys, like you don't have to be doing all the fancy things. I haven't even launched the sales page yet because technically today was supposed to be the launch day for the mastermind. And I shared about it about a week ago and just kind of like started talking about it because I felt the call intuitively that people needed to know about it now. And I only have 2 spots left. So things can be easy. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Just come from your highest self. So the mastermind is a 10-month kind of intensive coaching program with me. It'll be for 12 women total. And we are diving really deep into this whole entire process that I've talked about. So it's all about mind-body connection, really getting clear on who you are, what your purpose is, how to use your intuitive gifts to market and sell and create a very successful business. So I'm giving you guys my $500,000 blueprint and really just everything that I've done in the last 11 months to take my business from the 100K mark to over the 500K mark. And so that's what we're doing starting in January. It's really amazing. And then I'm taking you guys on 3 epic, ultimate kind of royal queen retreats. So part of the investment is we'll be traveling to Sedona, Arizona together. We'll be traveling to Big Sur, California, and then we'll be traveling to Maui. And during that time, I will work really closely with you one-on-one in person to get your business to wherever it is you want to be. So if you want to check that out, or if you have questions, just let me know. I don't really have any page I can send you to because my intuitive guides were telling me you don't need a sales page to launch this program. You just need to share it from your heart, and the women that need it will find it and they will and sign up. So there are 2 spots left, and we have our first bonus training on November 29th, where I teach you guys how to cultivate what I like to call queen confidence, because I really believe it's our internal confidence that allows us to create a magnetic energy that make people want to say yes to being in your presence. So that starts on November 29th, and then we officially launch January 11th, 111. And I take you on a 10-month journey into your highest self. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. It sounds amazing. So make sure you guys, there's 2 spots left. If that sounds like something you are drawn to, connect with Andy, go to Andy Love on Facebook, and then her Facebook group, The Love Vibe. You guys are going to love it. And like I said, watch all of her live stream videos. Just binge watch them. Really, really great stuff in those.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for joining us. It means the world to me to have you on here. I love your story. And yes, thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It's been so fun. I feel like we've been kind of just doing this thing together for the last couple of years, and it's amazing to see what happens when you just take action. So you're a perfect example of that as well. And I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, of course. Okay. Have an amazing rest of your day, and we'll talk again soon.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Bye.
Bye.